And we are live. Welcome to Mainstream Movies Reviews number 10, I believe. I kind of lost the count. So, today we talk about several movies. We talk about four movies. The Peter Jackson trilogy of Lord of the Ring that came out from 2001 to 2003. And we talk about the Lord of the Ring, the War of rohirim. I don't know how to pronounce that thing. And the intro. And yeah, I I'm surprised. This movie that came out 21 years after the last true Lord of the Ring movie was kind of good. And I know there's some kind of Hobbit trilogy somewhere that kind of suck, and there's also a trash TV show out there that's floating somewhere. Um, but we got a banger with that movie, and it's interesting because I only heard about the Rings of Power. I didn't really watch that TV show because I'm not that much into Lord of the Rings, and I only heard bad stuff, so I didn't want to put myself through trauma of watching such an awful show. And yet, I still went to see Halo because I actually care about Halo. Um, Sorry, Lord of the Ring, you don't have that privilege, but I only heard about like Rings of Power having a strong female character, and she was kind of trash, and that might be a reason why I didn't want to watch The Ring of Power. Now, with this new flick, this new movie that just came out yesterday, we got a female character that leads that movie, and a lot of people are watching the trailer and they're like, "Oh, that's Galadriel all over again. She will be trash. She will be awful." Guys, watch the movie before talking shit like that. I happened to see this movie today, a few hours ago, and that was really good. I was shocked on how good this first movie with this new characters, this animated movie. I'm shocked on how good this was, and this is the premise of this review of this new movie. So yeah, let's talk about this great new character we get introduced to today. She is flawed, so she is not a Mary Sue we had with the sequel trilogy of Star Wars or with The Ring of Power. So give this movie a fair chance because again, she was a very good main character, and maybe, just maybe, I will shock some of you, but I actually liked her a lot more than any of the Peter Jackson trilogy characters. Um, Now, I won't call myself a big Lord of the Ring fan. I haven't read the books. I think I did try to read one of them, but they're bricks, and I kind of gave up after a few pages. So I don't know if Peter Jackson was such a great person to talk or to uh, make alive the universe that was on the books. Um, so yeah, to get back to the War of Rohirrim, um, I thought the new lead was great. She was very interesting. She was a flawed character, um, and maybe that's why she was so cool. She sees the best in people and animals. Early in the movie, during her first encounter with the animals, she was actually scared by the big eagle. The main character had doubt, yet she listened to others. She's inspired by people she cares about. At moments, the main character is smart, knowing the characters. Knowing the creatures and how to control them. At other moment, and now there's a spoiler there. I will spoil the entire thing in case you didn't realize. I'm sorry for not mentioning that prior, but we will have a lot of spoiler there. But yeah, at moments she is naive. Like by the end of the movie, when she thought she won twice against the villain, she thought it'd be willing to give up, but yet that villain doesn't give up, doesn't let go, and she almost died like twice within like 10 minutes by the end of the movie because of her flaws. She got helped out and kind of saved to some extent, but yeah, I think that character was so cool. And there's also a strong feminist message in the movie where it's about taking agency, because everyone wants to tell you what to do, what you will be, and she doesn't want that shit. And I think it's kind of subtle, but there are hints that maybe she is into other girls and not boys. I might be wrong on that. But again, I feel like there's just so much to say about this new lead. And she does struggle in her fights against other people. And she's not overpowered. She's just a cool character that's kind of clever, because at some point she also saves her brother from her certain death really early in the movie, where there's some kind of creature. It's like a big elephant, something like that, and that creature is about to end them all. And she realizes, oh, there's that kind of trumpet, that kind of tool people are using to attract the animal. So she decides to run elsewhere and use that kind of trumpet to drive the elephant toward her. And she lured the creature inside the woods so the woods can kind of eat that creature. And that's smart. You know that thing is too powerful for you to stop it, so you use other more powerful things to deal with that. That's great. Um, at some point, in the movie, much later on, I'm a bit messy in that review, but I I try to not really follow that much my notes. But at some point, the people of the main character are stuck inside a castle and they cannot really get out because the villain and the army of the villain are waiting outside, and they are ready to crush them, and they lose all hope. But then the main character has that idea: let's go talk to the eagle, let's try to get reinforcements, let's try to get help outside of our walls to save the day. And that happens to be what saved them. So that was really cool and great. And that character, that main character we got, had a lot of charisma. She could have made a great leader, but she didn't really want to. And that's another really cool aspect to it. She's royalty. She's the daughter of a king, yet she doesn't want to take over the throne. She rather let her cousin take that throne. And even that cousin is like, can I have that place if you want? And she's like, no, I want my own destiny. I want to forge my own path. So that goes back to the feminist message that movie has. I enjoy it. And I will be honest, I'm not that much of a feminist myself. I actually think there's a lot of wrong in that idea in 2024. But to get back to the movie, I think that was well made. That aspect of that movie was really cool. We got a lot of fist fight, sword fight, battles. There's a lot of action, and each time there's something going on the screen, it's great. And there's a lot of art. There's a lot of emotional moments throughout the movie that I really enjoyed. And that 2 hour and a few minutes really went by so fast. And I only had one issue with the entire movie. And at some point, um, the villain chase after the king and the others, and they delete, to remain YouTube friendly. They delete the brothers of the main character one by one, and they try to end the king's life, They shoot bunch of arrows. The king falls, but he is not dead after taking like 4 arrows. So I think the plot armor was big and real, and I kind of understand why they did that, because they wanted the father to fall like a hero, and to fight off all of these guys at some point at the end of the second act, at the start of the third act. They really wanted to dad to have a great moment, and that's why they kept him alive. But I don't like when plot armor is there, and it surely felt like we had a lot of plot armor because other people died from like 1 arrow. Like usually 1 arrow was enough to delete pretty much anyone that received an arrow, except for the dad. The dad that took him 4 arrows. Maybe I nitpick too much. Maybe I just want to shit on the movie, but that was my only issue with the War of Rohirrim. And I will piss off a lot of fans of the trilogy we had 21 years ago, but I will say that movie, I liked it so much more than any of the 3 movies we had from Peter Jackson. And again, I will pretend The Hobbit didn't exist, and I will pretend Rings of Power is just a nightmare a lot of people live through. But yeah, what else? Outside of the strong feminist message, I thought the growth of the father into believing his daughter was cool. It was interesting how said father, all he wanted was to protect his people and his daughter in the process. Um, there's another very interesting thing: the villain, the longtime friend turning into a villain because of the main character rejection, and his father's death was well made. And again, that was a really cool villain. I feel like that villain in that movie is cooler than Sauron. I said it. Sauron is just bad guy because we need a bad guy. That one felt like there's a bit of nuance and struggle behind him. He could be human, but like he's still a monster. Like he breaks every promise he can break. But anyway, um, yeah, I think I will never praise that movie enough. The music was great, the action was great, and I will admit, many moments throughout the movie made me tear up. And if I wasn't really watching in theater, I would have taken deeper notes to exactly which moments. The only few things I could really remember is when the first brother died. It was kind of sad and shocking because he had that victory where he just defeated one of the big monsters and it was like, I did it, and then he just dies. It's like, wow, wow. They chose that moment to just rip away, break the victory by having a loss of a character. That was great. Another moment that made me tear up was when you were realizing the dad died for his people. That was quite emotional there. Um, the father's self-sacrifice. That was a big moment. He went out in a bang. He fought so many people to protect his people. That was wonderful. This is how you handle the death of a character. Make it mean something. Um, Animation was on point, and unfortunately, I don't have a lot more to say about this original, not original, this newer release. I think the War of Rohirrim is for me a well-deserved 9.8 out of 10. I I like that movie so much, and I wished we had guests coming in. I did send a link to many people, so maybe they will opt in later and they will share their thoughts. But these were mine. Now let's go back in time. 23 years ago, the first Lord of the Ring. So my experience with that franchise, with that trilogy made by Peter Jackson, I did happen to see the first one and the third one as a child. I said it. And the second one, for some reason, somewhat, somehow, I didn't really end up watching it. Um, so as a child, I did watch both. and they were kind of cool. At that time, I was a lot into Harry Potter, so I was like, oh, which one of the two is the coolest one? I thought Lord of the Ring being more edgy and darker. I was like, oh, that's the one I like because it's darker. Um, so I did see these two, but as a child, I only have seen like the 2 hour, 3 hour cut. It wasn't the extended cut I happened to see for this current stream. So, um, and as a child, I wasn't a critique. I wasn't a YouTuber, so these were other times. But as of today, I've seen it. I've seen that trilogy a few months ago. I've seen all 4 hour and a half movies. I think all of the three are 4 hours and a half. I've seen the longest version I've seen on the internet. I know there's like a 6 or 12 hour cut. It's too long for me. I'm not touching that with the 10 foot pole. But the rewind, the version I did happen to see. Well, that was long. Um, I enjoyed it, but I feel like I'm not necessarily the target audience for it because I thought that was way too long. Um, the first one is nowhere near as bad as the other two. Um, but like, yeah, let's start off with the first one. Uh, I know we are like 23 years later, but I will spoil the entire thing. So you are aware now. You are warned. So I had two issues with this original Lord of the Ring movie. Plot convenience, bumping into that one very important ally at the bar early in the movie. My second issue would be plot convenience, bumping into health chick in the woods in the middle of the night. Um, and I get it, like we need to meet these characters because they're important, but like it's not like they're searching for people, or it's not like it doesn't feel organic. It's just like let's force that character into our story so our cast can meet them. That's exactly how it felt. Maybe I nitpick too much. Maybe, just maybe. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't. So these were my two issues with the original movie. I will say the lore was great. There's a lot of showing and stuff telling. That's amazing. Show stuff. That was great. Gandalf was cool. Bilbo being corrupted by the ring was great. Cool lore. It was shown and told. Um, both wizards talking about the lore was kind of cool. I think we are in the second one, aren't we? No, it's still the first one. Okay, maybe I mixed up things in my mind. At least I took a lot of notes. I thought characters were very likable. The humor was on point. I enjoyed that original movie more than the other two. Um, that's all I can say. Like I got so many notes, but I won't do a reading fest. And I did see it like many months ago. So yeah, I thought that's a classic. Um, and people must see it. Uh, yeah. So this first Lord of the Ring was a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Near perfection. That was a really cool one. And I I had so many notes about it. So they basically seek for a team to bring that ring into the volcano, and that's the idea of the first one. And they must not use the ring too much, otherwise the evil forces will know where they are, what they're doing. Um, yeah, that's fantasy. It's just an epic story about people walking and walking. There are memes out there about that. Um, And we are led to believe that Gandalf died. But no, he didn't really die. He is there in the sequel. Um, Speaking of sequel, um, the sequel, I I thought it was kind of cool, but again, too long for me. Unfortunately, I again, I don't know if I was really the target audience for it because I didn't read the books. So maybe if I did read the books, I would enjoy it more. I don't know. So let's speak about the sequel a bit. Um, there was a lot of action based on what I see, and we had a lot of tension when Frodo encountered enemy troops. Characters were entertaining, and there was a corrupt kingdom, and the group taking back control over that corruption was kind of cool. And again, cool action. The visual and sounds effects were great. The action and lighting were good. Um, Sam saving Frodo from the ring and Frodo snapping after was great. Um, I heard a lot about people saying the ring is like a substance. So we got someone. Oh, we got someone there. Are you sure about that? I don't know. I don't know. Um. So yeah, I lost track of what I was saying. Okay, let's mention the two issues I had with this sequel. Uh, it's more of the same. Both issues. Um, both issues are basically the same. Um, Pacing was bad. Way too many scenes of characters just walking or running. We get it. They are on horses or they walk, but you can cut some of it to move the movie faster. More filler with shots to look on how pretty the visuals are. Um, Gollum plotting against Frodo was great. One of the team you could, um, one of the team could be everyone in the world has a role to play to fight evil. Frodo desire to help Gollum was cool and relatable. Frodo getting corrupted by the ring was cool. Gollum's struggle was great. Sam was depicted as positive and optimistic, and I feel like he was the light at the end of the tunnel for that entire thing. What are you talking about? As of right now, we are talking about the trilogy of Peter Jackson because I already talked about the new movie. Yes, there was a new movie. It came out yesterday. I already reviewed it prior. It was a banger, and I think it was better than what we had with Peter Jackson 3 years ago. Um, so again, I won't do an entire let's read out notes. Another highlight of that movie, the sad dead burial of the son in the sequel was kind of sad. Um, so yeah, again, the movie also addressed food, nice attention to detail. Um, Again, I think the sequel was really good. It's a strong follow up to the first one, and I will leave it at that. I will give the sequel, The Two Towers, a strong uh 9.5 out of 10, just like the first one. However, I like the first one a lot more. And we also learned in the sequel that, oh, Gandalf didn't really die in the first one. Cool. Cool. So I guess now we move on to the final topic for today, which is the Return of the King, the final one, the third of the trilogy, and it's highly regarded by many. And am I one of that many? I'm looking at my notes. Yes, I am one of that many. I'm looking into my notes, and I I misremembered things because I realized I have no issues with this third movie in the original trilogy. So my guess, I think it's better than the first two, and it's actually better than rohirim. However, because of the runtime, which is like 4 hour and bits like that, I don't see myself rewatching it outside of maybe making content out of it. I won't rewatch just for fun. It's too long. Well, the other one that just came out yesterday, I see myself just rewatching it because I liked it. I genuinely liked it. So that's a big difference between both. Um so yeah, here we are with the final movie. I had no issue with that one. I think it closes off the trilogy very well. Um, Frodo realizing he needs to destroy the ring was great. Frodo realizing Sam was mistreated was kind of cool and growth. Sam Gollum dynamic was great. Gollum used Frodo when Sam truly cared for Frodo. Sam and Frodo relationship breaking apart over the ring was sad. But I guess this is a lot of addict react. And I see in my notes action, action. I enjoyed the action. The music was also great. Uh, Sam warning Frodo about Gollum was kind of cool, and Saruman's death was well made. Um, Sam having a fight versus Gollum was entertaining. That's much later in the movie. There was another big fight with the castle that was kind of cool, and um, yeah, that third movie is there's so much thing going on, and things blew up, and it's well made. It's just a banger. The third movie of the trilogy is amazing. And I won't read into every single thing I had to say about that movie. All I can say is go watch it. Um, it's a good one. And yeah, the Return of the King for me is a 10 out of 10. The best of the trilogy and the best content we had of Lord of the Ring. So I won't do circle. I will just end it there. Uh, go watch The War of Rohirim if it wasn't done already. And we are out.